Hey everybody, it's Romania Black. We're on episode 4 of season 2 of Attack on Titan, and this seemed warranted because I do have two things I want to say before we start this episode. One, I'm recording this episode a little bit early because I've got to be out of town this weekend, so I won't be able to record it. So I wanted to record it a little bit ahead of time, but more earlier than I usually do. So if I say stuff that you correct me in the comments, it's fine. But I've been told the last couple of episodes, because I recorded ahead, I didn't realize it, but the narrator of the OVA, the narrator at the end of season 1, the narrator at the start of season 2 was not Hanji, but Armin. So I'm sorry that I got that mixed up. I blame it on the fact that both Hanji and Armin have female voice actors that lower their voices to sound more either non-binary or masculine or however you want to look at it. But I did not realize it was Armin. I think that's fascinating that Armin is our narrator. And it made me go, wait, has Armin been the narrator this entire time? So I find that fascinating that he's our narrator. Very interesting. But here's the other thing. Everyone's suspicious. Episode 3, I have thought about episode 3 so much over the last couple days. I've thought about it so much. And I was like, wait, what? And so I went back and rewatched episode 1 because Bertoldt, Ymir, and Reiner have been suspicious. Pastor Nick was suspicious right off the bat, right? His whole character was suspicious from the start. But Reiner and Ymir and Bertoldt have been suspicious this whole season so far, and I can't quite put my finger on it. But I went back and watched episode 1 because I was like, were they suspicious at the start of this season, or was this just last episode? But there's a moment in episode 1 of the season, there is a moment where when Nanaba shows up and she's like, oh, the wall's been breached. There is a moment that Reiner turns to Bertoldt and he's like, has the wall been breached? And they both kind of look at each other. And at the time, I wasn't even thinking about it. I was like, oh, they're just trying to figure out. But now I'm like, wait, are Reiner and Bertoldt, were they in on this whole Annie thing? Or are they working with a different party? What is happening? And then the last episode, when Connie looks back after the Beast Titan spotted, even Ymir looks over, and Reiner and Bertoldt look terrified. So I'm like, my suspicion level is up here. And y'all have done such an amazing job of not spoiling me. I cannot thank you enough, because I'm over here losing my mind, and y'all are on the other side of the screen going, So, oh my gosh, I've come into the second season with more questions than I think I've ever had for this show. I'm so curious. I want to know more. And I really honestly think it's because we've spent the whole first season getting to know these characters like on the surface, and getting to know this world on the surface, and getting to know kind of the way that everything works on the surface. So now in season 2, we're delving into more lore, into more like intricate details in the politics, and into like bloodlines, and into the Titans. And I feel like the loyalties of these characters and who they're really loyal to is all going to come out in this season. And I'm so excited for it. So yeah. I've been told through the comments at this point that and I kind of guessed that. To be honest, somebody on Patreon was like, oh, the whole events of this arc take place over the course of a few days. It's like this whole big giant thing that's going to happen is all one arc, and that's why it's 12 episodes. I don't consider that a spoiler because I honestly kind of guessed that going into this. And the only reason I thought that was I was like, okay, well, season 1 was 25 episodes. This season's only 12. So I don't know the circumstances of why that is, but my guess was, okay, this season only being 12 episodes is going to cover one big arc, isn't it? It's going to cover one big arc. Kind of like with season 1, we had Trost, which was literally 9 episodes. Was it episode like 4 or 5 through 13? I mean, it was basically a whole season was just Trost. So it does not surprise me that the events of this season encompass one arc. That doesn't surprise me at all. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm terrified of that. But yeah, so we have, what's Ymir's deal? Hanji and Levi know that Ymir's with Krista, so there's connection there. Who the heck Krista is, what her deal with all this is. Why are Reiner and Bertoldt suspicious? Connie and the Titans from his town Are the Titans his actual people from his town? Why is the Beast Titan climbing the wall? These questions have plagued my mind for the last few days, and I'm like, I needed to watch this episode. I could not wait. I was like, I need to know now. I can't wait. The urge to binge, y'all. It's a good thing I'm keeping busy. Because otherwise I'd be like, time to sit down and watch Attack on Titan. But no, I am busy, so that's a benefit in this case that I'm pacing myself. I can't imagine those of you that binge like this in a week or a day, y'all, how are your brains still functioning? Mine would be mush. So yeah, I'm ready to dive into a romp of Attack on Titan. Luckily we got Funimation's version back up, which I'm pretty excited. I've been told the simulcast is basically like the Crunchyroll version anyway, so it's like, but you know what? They translated the title cards last time around, so I was like, that's good. I'm glad for that. But all right, let's do this, y'all. We are going to dive into episode 29. So season 2, episode 4, Soldier. Very interesting indeed. I can't imagine. So yeah, let's do this, y'all. We are going to start this episode here in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. I love this season. I love it so much. I love this season so much. You know why? Because it's so mysterious. And so Ymir can become a Titan. I honestly didn't see that coming, to be honest. I thought that Ymir would be somebody that was like a sect of humanity, like there's a tribe or a clan of humanity that could speak with the Titans and communicate with them, and maybe had like control over them somehow, and that's why the Titans revered them, because they were like, had that power. So I thought that she wouldn't be able to become a Titan. I thought she was going to be like someone that could talk to the Titans and do that. Nope. She could turn into one. So funny that, like, it makes more sense now, because everybody's been talking about with episode 1 on Patreon, going back to those comments, everybody was talking about, well, Erwin wanted to segregate all the 104th Regiment from having their gear and everything, because he's like, if somebody's connected to Annie, then we don't want them to like be in cahoots with Annie and help her get out. So it made sense why why Erwin made them all be in their civilian clothes and kind of hang out and wait for whatever was going to happen. It makes sense. It does. And at the time I was like, well, nobody's in cahoots with Annie. But I don't think Ymir was. That's the thing. Ymir and Annie never had any contact with one another. They never talked to one another. They never interacted with one another, like, the whole time. Like, I don't remember a single moment in season 1. And I'll have to go back and rewatch episodes 3 and 4. But I don't remember a single time that Ymir and her interacted at all. I don't recall that. So that's funny that it may be that Ymir's not connected to Annie at all. But it's funny that Erwin suspected, and so he kept them all hidden. I've thought the last 2 episodes that I still think Reiner can become a Titan. I know back in episode 17, everybody was like, oh, that was a Titan's blood on him when he got released from Annie's grip. They're like, oh, it's a Titan's blood. It wasn't Reiner's. I was like, yeah, but it's still weird because Annie could have crushed him. And this whole episode has been a series of red herrings of Reiner becoming a Titan. And I've been like, Reiner can become a Titan, can he? Maybe he can. I've thought that this episode, I thought Bertoldt can become a Titan, and so can Reiner. I've thought those 2 things. Because Bertoldt's been real suspicious. He's been really suspicious, and Reiner has been suspicious because of Bertoldt. Like, the whole conversation where they're talking about Reiner not being a warrior anymore, that's like straight up Annie dialogue, right? When Annie was like, I've failed as a warrior. That's when she was like upset because she got cornered by the Survey Corps. And when Bertoldt confronts Reiner, when Reiner like saves Connie, and damn, when I thought that when the Titan bit his arm, he was going to transform. I thought that's what was going to happen. I was like, oh, he's going to transform. But he didn't. And so then he like Reiner being a straight up boss. Like, I know some of you on Patreon, I'm thinking of you, Space Monkey, you've commented and been like, Reiner's like S tier for me. And I was like, I want to wait and see in season 2 what's going to happen with Reiner to see if he's already bumping up to A rank. I can tell you that right now. Like, Reiner just bumping up from B rank to A rank automatically this episode, because him like being a freaking boss and hurling a Titan over his shoulders out a window. Thank God Connie was there. Like, and the fact that Reiner was willing to sacrifice himself to save Connie. But then Bertoldt makes that comment. So I want to go through this episode. Holy shit. There's things, right? There's things that are being discussed that are being set up in this episode. Again, this episode, like episode 3, is like a setup, and we're slowly getting payoffs, but it's not in the way that I thought. So I love it. I'm so excited by it, but I'm like, what the heck? And then looking at the Titans at the very end of that OP, when the Beast Titan and the others are like storming through, and they have the big red like emblem of fire, they're like going across, and there's all these little other emblems below them. I'm like, are those the souls that they're like stomping over? I don't know. But soldier. Yeah, Nanaba and Gerger, man, we got like 4 deaths to write down in this one episode alone. Jeez. God. One episode alone, we've got like 3 deaths to write down. We went 2 episodes without any deaths, so I shouldn't be surprised. The show's making up for it. I really liked Gerger and Nanaba. I really liked them. I thought they'd live longer than this episode, but did not. So it says it looks like someone was here recently. It's an odd place. It's odd for a place this near the wall. And then that's the thing, that it's established some bandits probably used it as a base. And it says ruins of Utgard Castle on one of the signs. Who would have thought there was a castle around here? And then Gerger finds the liquor. Bless his heart, Gerger just wanted a drink. He just wanted some booze, and he couldn't get it. It's like, damn, Gerger, I wanted him to just have one final drink. I will definitely be toasting Gerger when we get to the recap and RIP, because it's like, dude, you tried. But yeah, Gerger, I'm going to write these down. Gerger's. And then poor Nanaba, man, gone too soon. Gerger, Nanaba, and there's 2 others that I'll write down here in a minute. But man, that sucks. And so I really like that Reiner and Connie have kind of like bonded in the last couple of episodes. And I get that Reiner shares the same passion as Connie. Connie just wanted to go to his hometown and see his family, and his family was gone. And then Reiner understands that, because it sounds like Reiner and Bertoldt have been away from their home. And Reiner's whole goal is he's like, I want to go back home, back to around Shiganshina, back in Walmaria. And he says the same thing to Bertoldt, but this is why Bertoldt's suspicious, because Bertoldt's like, yeah, we'll go back home. Like, he just, you know, it sounds freaking suspicious, right? So here's the deal. If Ymir can become a Titan, Pastor Nick is involved in all this, right? Because Pastor Nick was talking about them being involved and there being people involved. And I'm like, Pastor Nick, he had to have known that Ymir was monitoring Krista. So, come on, what is happening? So yeah, so Krista brings up the point of, what if there is no hole in the wall? What do we do? And Gerger's like, well, that's our job tomorrow, is to find out what to do in that case. And so they do the whole night watch thing, the stereotypical, like when there's a stakeout. It's all, like it is. And Chris is trying to be optimistic. And yeah, there's barely any Titans around here if the wall was broken. Yeah, man, Nanaba has such a freaking cool design. I'm sad that she's dead. Sad days. And then, so, here's the thing. Ymir asked about Connie's village, right? And I'm guessing she didn't realize what was up. And Connie goes into this whole spiel about his village being destroyed, but there were no dead bodies. And at first, Ymir's like, oh, that's awful. And then Connie brings up that nobody was eaten. And it sounds like Ymir kind of dug herself into a hole there, because she brought that up. And then Connie starts talking about it, and Reiner's like, let's just not dwell on it anymore. But the laugh that Ymir has, the laugh And he starts talking about his mom and how one of the Titans reminded him of his mom, which we're like, yeah, no joke. And Ymir, being super, super suspicious, starts laughing. And it's such a laugh that's reminiscent of Annie. It's such a fake laugh. It's like a laugh that's like, oh, let me distract you from what I'm actually thinking. It's like a nervous laugh, you know? Like the ha ha ha, let's not talk about this anymore. And so, yeah, Ymir trying to distract. And then Reiner tries to like get him off topic. He's like, hey, quit focusing on that. And she's like, what an idiot. You think your mother might have been that Titan? And she's like, oh, well, that would have been your father was a Titan too, so they could do it. And then Connie gets mad. And it just looks like Reiner's looking at her like, oh. And it almost seemed like Reiner was like, were you doing that on purpose to try to like take his mind off of things? And it's like, yeah, she was doing that on purpose to take his mind off of things, but not for the reason you're thinking of, Reiner. I was really suspicious of Reiner and Bertoldt in this episode, going into this episode. I'm still suspicious of Bertoldt, very much. But I'm not as suspicious of Reiner anymore. I still think Reiner can turn into a Titan. Y'all aren't convincing me otherwise. It's a gut feeling, y'all. It's a gut feeling. But, oh my God. So this interaction between Reiner and Ymir, this interaction, like the tension. Let me tell y'all the tension. Because when she's like, oh, prowling at night, you've come to see me? And then she makes a little jab at him. She's like, I'm shocked. I was under the impression you had no interest in women. Like the little jab of suggesting that he's gay. And then he's like, oh, well. It's like, and it seems that you don't have any interest in guys either. And it's like, ugh, burn! Burn! And she's like, shut up. Because, yeah, everybody's been like Ymir and Krista as a pair. And it's like, yeah, Ymir is not interested in dudes. And she's like, I thought. And she changes the subject. So, like, she's instantly like, touche, Reiner, touche. So she's like, I thought I'd find time to scavenge for something to fill my stomach. This will probably end up being my last meal. And then Reiner's like, so about Connie's village, were you joking around on purpose? And he's trying to, and of course, he's like, I appreciate if you did more of that to take his mind off of things. And she's like, what are you talking about? And then she's like, oh, it's herring. And then she hands it to him. And he can't read it. What are these letters? I can't read any of it. So that begs the question, are you able to read this language? And Ymir's like, shit, I've been caught. And so this opens up so many questions, right? Because the question is, I haven't thought about this in this series, but does everyone in the series speak a universal language? Except for like, is this language that she's reading on the can like a dead language, you know, like Latin or something? And he's just like, how did you know this language? We can't speak this. It's not our native language. Unless she's from a special place that speaks that language, right? But that begs the question. These bandits left all this gear in this secret language. Why did they leave all the canned goods in that specific language? Huh? I don't know. But that begs the question, why would they leave stuff in a specific language that Ymir could read but Reiner couldn't? I feel like it's a notch of world building that we're going to get answers to, but not yet. And so I'm really, really curious, like, what's going down? And then Ymir's like, shit, I've been found out. And that's right when everything goes down. And we go back to the way we were. Man, this battle between Gerger and Nanaba, it's so good, but they run out of gas and blades. It's like they can only do so much. And I thought for a second, like Eren and the others were going to show up right at the end there. I was like, oh, Eren and the others are going to show up and save him. No. Nope. They'll probably show up in time to see Ymir as a Titan and see all this mess. That's going to be interesting. And here's the thing. It's moonlight. It's not sunlight. So what the heck? How are we going to do this? I'm so curious, y'all. I'm so curious. And this poor girl, well, I get her name. But yeah, all the Titans and stuff. But I was like, Reiner, don't you open that door. Rule 1 of... I've thought about this the last couple episodes. I'm like, this whole episode is like a horror movie where, you know, they find the spooky cabin in the woods and they're like, oh, we'll hide out there. And that's where all the horror stuff goes down. That's exactly like this. I'm like, Reiner, don't you open that door. Rule 101 of horror films, don't you open that door. But he does. And there's that freaky ass Titan there. So we get this flashback. We get the flashback where Reiner's like, is this it? Will this be it? And I wonder if he was thinking the same thing when Annie attacked him back in episode 17 of season 1. But we get like little kid Reiner, and it's so sad. He's like such a little kid, but he still has that like beefy face. It's like, aw. But this guy saved him. And I don't know if it's his brother or what, but Bertoldt's with him. Bertoldt's there. But I don't know if it's just some random guy or their friend or a brother. I don't know what it is, but he saves Reiner and Bertoldt. Yeah. And then he manages to dodge it. I get vibes that like Reiner's kind of like Mikasa and Eren. Like he has that survival mentality that just like Mikasa and Eren, Reiner has that like that do or die, that fight or flight syndrome. And he knows when to fight and he knows when to fly. I got very Mikasa vibes from Reiner in this scene. And I thought that was really cool. And then, of course, everybody shows up. And Bertoldt's like just stabs him with the pitchfork. Bertoldt's like, screw you, Titan. I'm going to save my friend. Yeah, we're going to survive and go home. We're going back to our hometown for sure. And Bertoldt's like, yeah, sure, we're going home. And then they just throw that cannon at him. It's great. It's a great time. And then poor Connie. I feel so bad for Connie in this because Connie's having to deal with the whole thing with his family, and that Titan comes after him, and Reiner literally saves him. But Connie does save Reiner. He cuts the jaw open on that Titan with the knife. And then I like that Krista knows basic, like we gotta clean the wound out, so I'm gonna pour the liquor on it, Gerger's liquor, and then he's broke his arm. But y'all may have laughed at me in the recap video when I was talking about my ships. I was talking about Reiner and Krista. Y'all may have been laughing at me, but I was like, dude, Krista just doing the stereotypical tearing the skirt. So, and then Reiner's face. I can't get over Reiner's face where he's just like, I've got to marry her. I'm like, I kind of want you to, Reiner. Go for it, Reiner. I'm rooting for you. But I'm also rooting for Ymir, because in that moment where Reiner's like, no, it's helpful. I've got to marry her. In that moment, Ymir's like, oh, I may have scraped my finger. Can you help heal it? Oh, by the way, Krista, my hand got scraped a bit too. And Connie's like, are you kidding me? Just spit on it. When this show wants to do comedy, it really does comedy. And I was even laughing, like, even as Gerger was dying that horrible death, when he was like, how dare you guys not leave me any liquor? It was almost like the darkest of humor, like the darkest comedy possible. I kind of loved it. We needed some form of levity because this season has been rough so far. It has been dark as shit. And then what did Connie say? Connie said that moment, sorry about that, Reiner. He was like, it seems like you're always saving my ass. And then he says, speaking of which, Annie risked her life to save me too. So yeah, that's important to bring up. I gotta pay you back sometime. And then Reiner's like, oh, well, you know. And he's like, it's a normal thing to do, to risk your life to save people. Damn. Because we're soldiers. And Kai's like, I'm not sure about that. I like that they bring up the fact that Annie saved him. That's really good to note on there. And Connie's like, I don't think I could be that brave. And he's like, Bertoldt, has Reiner always been like this? And this is the suspicious line where Bertoldt says in the past Reiner was more of a warrior. Unlike now. And then Reiner's like, what does that mean? What do you mean by warrior? And then Bertoldt doesn't, and then And then Ymir cuts him off. She says, let's find anything we can. So I'm like, Bertoldt, you're still so suspicious. Bertoldt is so suspicious. I commented in the recap video that we hadn't seen hardly anything from Bertoldt. I was like, I put him down in C rank because I was like, we've seen nothing from Bertoldt. He's done nothing, but he is so damn suspicious in this. I'm like, what are you doing? And now that we know Ymir can become a Titan, I'm like, can Bertoldt? I still think Reiner can, but I don't think Reiner knows that he can. That's the thing. I think Reiner is in the Eren boat where he doesn't realize that he can, but he can. And I think Bertoldt knows that he can, like Ymir. I'm calling it now. There's too much suspicion. It's too weird. And Ymir just cutting him off. That way, when we die, we can do so without regrets. Again, going back to that no regrets, only it's Ymir instead of Levi. That's the scouts for you. They're on a different level from the other soldiers. Yeah, but they can only do so much with the gas that they have. Damn. And then, like, what the hell? And they keep coming. Oh, man. And here's the crazy thing. The Beast Titan throwing the horses and the rocks and everything. And then there's our other two, Lynn and Henning. Lynn and Henning. And Henning, I'm assuming Lynn was the girl that was really cool back there trying to cheer Connie up. And then Henning was the dude. Damn, 4 deaths in 1 episode. Oh my God. But yeah, so my question is, what? Why? The Beast Titan just pieced out over the wall. Like the Beast Titan went back to... Did the Beast Titan go back to Shiganshina to back through Wall Maria? He climbed over the wall, went right back, but I'm assuming he has the ODM gear. So who'd he go to? Why is the Beast Titan, why did he lure all these people here? And have the Titans all be in a group and then part of a strategy to lure them all there. Yep. And toying with us from the start. Yep. None of us got the right idea. But then, yeah, he uses his voice to call the Titans over there and give them the orders to attack. And then he just pieces out. I'm like, Beast Titan, where are you going? What a tease. What an absolute tease. Of course, the Beast Titan's not going to be there when Eren and them show up. Of course he's not. No. Couldn't do that. Man, Nanaba and Gerger, I love them. I know I've said that so much in this reaction, but just rewatching this episode, and when Gerger had the blood coming down his face, and it cut to the other side, and we saw that he was injured. That hurt. That was crushing. Crushing blow. It's weird, right? I feel like it's weird. I feel like we got to know Oro and Petra and Gunther and Eld a little bit, like through like joking stories with Eren and the squad, but we didn't get to know them that much. And I feel like we almost get to know Nanaba and Gerger through 2 episodes just as much as we did with the other Levi squad. Like I feel like we get to know them, at least their personalities in these 2 episodes. So it really hurts when we lose them. It's like, damn, like what the heck? And just, And so yeah, them dying, that's just, oh my God. Nanaba saying like, Father, no. Like having like moments of like in your last moments of living, like her having just this like traumatic, like reflexive thinking of her dad. Oh my God. That was disturbing. I mean, Gerger's death was kind of almost played for dark humor in that he couldn't have the bottle with the liquor, and it was like, damn it, I'm dying and I can't even have a drink. Like that was played for dark humor, but Nanaba's was frightfully realistic and traumatizing. Like that was disturbing. Like what the hell? And then so we get to the top here, and I want to get back to this. We get to the top here, and Ymir and Krista being like, I want to, I want to fight till the end. And we won't get back to that. And so, yeah, Gerger dies. right? And then Connie and their and of course, because this show likes to see us suffer, they show us them actually getting eaten. And Ymir's like, this tower is gonna crumble. And Krista's like, they're dying instead of us. Like, we need to do something. Oh my gosh. Ugh. Not good. And so they're like, do we just sit around and wait for the tower to collapse? What do we do? Do we let ourselves get eaten? We have no gear. We have nothing. What else can we do? It's like we're at the last option. And so we don't even get to finish the mission at all. It's like over before it even starts. And then I like that Krista's like, if I could find a weapon, I'd go down fighting. Like, Krista, I love her spirit that she's like, if I could do something, I could at least try to be worthy of the people who died for us. So Krista, being a literal saint, I was suspicious of Krista, but in this episode, I'm like, I don't think I'm suspicious of Krista anymore. I'm just like, Krista, her past is what's suspicious. I don't think Krista as an individual is suspicious because she's like, I want to fight and protect everybody. Like, I feel like Krista's pretty innocent, but I feel like her past is what's going to be the jaded, crazy thing, right? And then, oh my God, Ymir being like, just stop. Don't use their deaths as an excuse. They didn't sacrifice themselves so you could just go out in a blaze of glory, you know, and fulfill some like creepy wish. And then Chris is like, well, that's not what I meant. And I like Ymir's like, you're not like the others. They're in this to give humanity a fighting chance. Deep down, all you care about is having the word hero carved on your grave. And Krista's like, no, that's not it. So Ymir's basically just accusing Krista. She's like, the only reason you're here is so that you can be like a martyr and be a hero. You're not here to save humanity like everybody else. And Krista's like denying it. And then Ymir's like, fine. Got that knife? And it's like, oh my gosh. And she's like, give it here. I love this. And she's like, you're very sweet. And she's just giving the head pats. Oh my gosh. And she's like, it's not like I'm going to use it for much, but this is the only weapon that I need. And Reiner's like, oh, you have a plan. Sure. And then she's like, oh, well, if I have a plan, we'll figure it out all together. It's fine. And then, so Ymir says, listen, don't forget what we learned while we were training on top of that snowy mountain. It's like, bah. So I want to know that. She's like, try to think back. We're at the end of our rope here. So that oath that we made on the snowy mountain. I'm like, what snowy mountain? Where are these mountains? Where have you been? What's happening? And these Titans are all trying to climb up the side of the building. And Ymir's like, it's not my place to tell you how to live your life. It's just more of a hope. And then, and the sunlight's coming out, the daybreak, the sunlight's breaking out so that she can fight them in the daylight. Oh my gosh. And it's like Ymir saying her last words to her. Oh my gosh. And then, here we go. Never forget the promise we made. So I want to know what the promise is. And then, yeah, the moment she jumped off, I'm like, oh my God, she's going to become a Titan. Just, the moment she took the knife, it was pretty much like, I love it. And it's kind of different than Annie and Aaron's. It's a little different. It's like a big ball of energy. And it looks monstrous. So I'm like, what the hell? It looked kind of like a Beast Titan. So I'm like, what the hell? So I don't know. Is Ymir, is the Beast Titan a Ymir as well? Is that a whole thing? I'm really excited now because I want to see Ymir as a Titan fighting the other Titans. I'm kind of excited by this because does that mean Ymir could work alongside Aaron? But here's the thing. If they all show up, my guess is, because like there's several options that could happen. Either Ymir's going to die either Ymir is going to fight as the Titan in Titan form and die here, and the other Titans are going to kill her. But the Beast Titan's gone, so maybe she'll be able to so maybe that's the least possible scenario. Option 2, Ymir is going to fight as a Titan and turn back into a human before the others arrive. And then Reiner and all them will be like, what the hell is happening? And so there's that possibility. She's going to be fighting as a Titan, and then the others arrive, and Aaron's like, another Titan? What? And then Levi's with them, and Houndji's with them. So it's going to be like, what the hell? And so they're either going to, Aaron and Ymir are going to tag team on this, right? Maybe Ymir and Aaron can tag team and fight the Titans together. I don't know. Or Ymir is going to run away. After Ymir stops all the Titans, Ymir is going to like peace out before the other squad gets there so that she's not captured. Because a part of me is like, if they see Ymir as a Titan, they're going to want to capture her to question her and be like, what do you know? Why have you been hiding this all this time? What the hell? And you've been protecting Krista, so what's going on? So there's so many different scenarios of what could happen. So many different scenarios. I'm like, this could go so many different ways, y'all. I'm still suspicious of Bertoldt. I'm suspicious of Pastor Nick. Pastor Nick could be a Titan. Pastor Nick could turn into a Titan, right? At this point, it's a free-for-all. Anybody could be a Titan, right? Is that what the OP's suggesting? As long as you know what you're doing? It's like the OVA. It's like Sudden Visitor when Mikasa turned into the buff Titan and Armin and Jean were like the wonky Titans. And Akane was a tiny Titan, and then Krista was like a literal angel. Was that OVA foreshadowing? I don't know. But they've established if Ymir can become a Titan, it's a free-for-all, man. It's a free-for-all. What the hell? What's the circumstances? How can they turn into Titans? Why do some turn into... How do they turn into like a fully formed Titan? How long has Ymir known she can do that? Is the language that she read on the can only being able to read by those they can turn into Titans? That would rule Reiner out, but I have so many questions. Thank y'all for not spoiling me because this season has been amazing so far. It's been amazing, and I have no clue what's going to happen next. That's kind of the best part about it is I have no clue where it's going. Even though this is all supposed to be one giant arc, I have no clue what to expect. And so now I'm like, is Ymir going to fight all the Titans and get rid of them before everybody else shows up? What's going to happen? We'll find out, right? So, yeah. These cliffhangers, though, not fun. So I'm curious to know your thoughts down below, what you guys thought when you first saw this episode. Please no spoilers, or if you're going to spoil, be like Romania, please don't read. And then otherwise... I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'm going to be back next week with episode 5 of season 2. We're almost to the halfway point already. What? We still got one more episode to go and then we'll be halfway there. Insanity. So, yeah, I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and I'll be back next week with or I'll be back in a couple days. Not next week. We're not waiting that long. With episode 5 of Attack on Titan. Bye.